On August 25th, 1942, a royal aircraft crashed in the Scottish Highlands, killing King George VI's brother instantly. The official story called it a tragic wartime accident. But for over 80 years, some researchers have questioned whether there's a darker truth about Prince George, Duke of Kent. Controversial historians suggest that what the British government buried wasn't just a prince, but potentially the most dangerous secret the monarchy had ever harbored. Some claim George died carrying alleged evidence about his forbidden relationships with men, and theories persist about why certain researchers believe he had to die. According to disputed accounts, this is the story of a prince who dared to love in a world that would rather see him eliminated than exposed. Tonight, we're exploring theories that conspiracy researchers claim reveal royal secrets meant to stay buried forever. The official narrative? A tragic wartime accident. The alternative theory. Some researchers suggest a carefully orchestrated cover-up that allegedly reaches the highest levels of the British establishment. These theories remain highly controversial and disputed by mainstream historians. If this exploration of controversial royal theories intrigues you, hit that subscribe button now, because what we're about to examine challenges everything you thought you knew about the British royal family. These are theories some claim were never meant to be discussed. According to disputed research, George wasn't just any royal. Some theorists argue he was the dangerous one who allegedly refused to hide his true nature. Controversial claims suggest this defiance led to his mysterious death, though these allegations remain unproven and heavily disputed by official sources. But here's what some researchers argue couldn't be buried: allegedly surviving letters, disputed witness accounts, and controversial evidence that certain theorists claim proves George's death was no accident. The most unsettling allegation: that powerful people who some say orchestrated his death may still be protecting these secrets. Some conspiracy theorists believe George's homosexual relationships made him a blackmail target, while others suggest his access to wartime secrets created additional vulnerabilities. These theories paint a picture of a prince caught between impossible choices: hide his authentic self or risk everything he held dear. The most shocking claims suggest that George's final months were spent under intense surveillance, with intelligence operatives allegedly monitoring his every move. Some researchers argue this wasn't just family concern, but something far more sinister: a coordinated effort to contain what they claim was an escalating security threat. According to these disputed theories, what really happened in those final moments before the crash remains one of the most controversial mysteries in British royal history. Prince George was born on December 20th, 1902, into a world that expected him to be perfect, obedient, and above all, conventional. The fourth son of King George V and Queen Mary, he was never meant to inherit the throne, but he was absolutely meant to uphold the family's reputation. From his first breath, he was groomed to be the Golden Prince, handsome, charming, and utterly devoted to duty. But even as a child, historians note there were signs that George would never fit the traditional royal mold. While his older brothers played war games and practiced their future roles as leaders, young George was drawn to art, music, and beauty. He spent hours in the palace gardens, not hunting or riding like proper princes should, but sketching flowers and writing poetry that biographers suggest would have concerned his parents. His tutors reportedly noticed something different about the prince. He was more sensitive than his brothers, more emotionally intelligent, more aware of others' feelings. He befriended the staff's children, showed kindness to servants, and displayed an empathy that some royal observers claim worried his parents in an era where emotional distance was considered virtue. By his teenage years, the differences allegedly became impossible to ignore. While his brothers pursued appropriate relationships with well-bred young ladies, George showed little interest in the parade of eligible princesses presented to him. Royal biographers suggest that matchmakers worked overtime trying to spark his interest in marriage, but George remained mysteriously aloof from female company. Instead, he gravitated toward the artistic communities of London, spending time with painters, musicians, and writers who lived outside the rigid confines of royal society. His parents initially dismissed this as youthful rebellion, according to palace insiders, having no idea that their golden prince was discovering his authentic self among people who understood hidden desires. Some historians suggest the royal family began to panic when gossip started circulating about George's unconventional friendships. Whispers in high society allegedly hinted that the young prince's interests were not entirely appropriate for a member of the royal family. According to these accounts, palace officials launched damage control operations, carefully monitoring his activities. But George was allegedly already too far gone. Some biographers claim he had tasted freedom, experienced authentic connection, and discovered that love existed outside the suffocating world of royal expectations. He reportedly began leading a double life, performing his royal duties by day while exploring his true nature in London's underground society. Contemporary accounts suggest his parents' attempts to control him only strengthened his resolve to live authentically. The more they allegedly pressured him to conform, the more boldly he embraced his difference. Some researchers claim he started attending private gatherings where men could be themselves without judgment. The royal establishment was reportedly terrified. According to controversial theories, here was a prince who could single-handedly destroy centuries of carefully constructed royal mythology. A prince whose very existence allegedly challenged everything they stood for, who some claim refused to hide his true nature even when it threatened the crown itself. By his 20s, some historians argue that Prince George had become the royal family's most dangerous liability. His charm and intelligence made him popular with the public, but his private life allegedly made him a walking scandal waiting to explode. According to these disputed accounts, the palace knew they had to act soon. But George was reportedly about to make a discovery that would change everything. Some researchers claim he found a secret society of influential men who shared both his desires and his dangerous dilemma. The 1920s were a decade of rebellion, and according to various accounts, Prince George embraced every forbidden moment of it. While the rest of the royal family maintained their suffocating traditions, some historians suggest George discovered London's hidden underground, a world where aristocrats, artists, and intellectuals allegedly gathered in secret to live as their true selves. These reportedly weren't just parties. Some claim they were sanctuaries for men who dared to love other men. Behind the marble columns and golden gates of Buckingham Palace, palace insiders suggest George's behavior was becoming increasingly alarming to his family. Staff allegedly whispered about late-night phone calls, mysterious visitors who entered through back entrances, and the prince's growing collection of books on subjects that some claim made the royal librarians uncomfortable. According to disputed accounts, his personal secretary had to destroy letters that arrived in handwriting that was decidedly masculine and intimate. Some biographers claim the young prince had discovered Kit Wood, a brilliant artist whose paintings captured the decadent spirit of the era. Their relationship allegedly began as patron and artist, but according to controversial theories, quickly became something far more dangerous. Some researchers suggest Wood introduced George to a circle of creative men who lived openly among themselves, writers like Cecil Beaton and other aristocrats who had allegedly learned to navigate their desires in the shadows. These gatherings reportedly took place in elegant townhouses in Mayfair, where some claim conversation flowed as freely as champagne and men could hold hands without fear. According to disputed accounts, George found himself truly alive for the first time, discussing literature and philosophy with passionate intensity, surrounded by people who allegedly understood the agony of hiding one's true self from the world. But according to controversial theories, the royal surveillance machine was already watching. Some researchers claim palace intelligence officers, disguised as servants and social acquaintances, infiltrated George's circles. These alleged operatives reportedly photographed guests, recorded conversations, and compiled detailed reports about the prince's activities. According to these disputed accounts, the files grew thicker each month, documenting evidence that could have destroyed not just George, but every man in his circle. King George V was allegedly presented with these reports in his private study, and according to some accounts, What he read made him physically ill. Some historians suggest his son wasn't just rebelling against royal protocol, he was allegedly living a lifestyle that could topple the monarchy if it ever became public. In an era when homosexuality was criminal, some claim his son's behavior was essentially treason against the crown. The royal family's response was reportedly swift and brutal. According to disputed accounts, George's allowance was cut, his movements restricted, and his social calendar carefully monitored. Some researchers claim palace officials began spreading rumors about his wild phase, hoping to discredit any future accusations by painting him as generally reckless rather than specifically homosexual. But according to various accounts, George refused to be cowed. If anything, some suggest the pressure made him more reckless, more determined to live authentically despite the consequences. According to controversial claims, he began taking greater risks, meeting lovers in increasingly public places and openly defying his family's attempts to control him. The breaking point allegedly came when palace officials discovered love letters hidden in George's private quarters. According to some accounts, passionate correspondence from multiple men that left no doubt about the nature of his relationships. Some claim Queen Mary confronted her son, holding the letters in her trembling hands. According to disputed accounts, George's response would haunt her forever. He allegedly didn't deny anything, instead looking her in the eyes and telling her that he would rather die than live a lie. That night, according to controversial theories, the royal family made a decision that would change everything. Some researchers claim they couldn't control George's nature, but they could control his circumstances. The plan they allegedly devised would either save the monarchy or destroy their son completely. According to controversial accounts, the names in Prince George's alleged secret address book read like a who's who of Britain's most influential men. Some researchers claim each entry represented not just a lover, but a co-conspirator in a dangerous game that could have destroyed them all. These reportedly weren't casual encounters. According to disputed theories, they were passionate relationships with some of the most powerful figures in British society. Jorge Ferrara, the devastatingly handsome son of an Argentine diplomat, was allegedly George's most intense love affair, according to some biographers. Their relationship supposedly began at an embassy reception in 1927, where, according to disputed accounts, a single glance across a crowded room ignited a passion that would burn for years. Some claim Ferrara was sophisticated, cultured, and completely unashamed of his desires. But according to controversial theories, Ferrara wasn't just a lover. He was potentially a liability. Some researchers suggest palace intelligence discovered that he was keeping a detailed diary of his alleged relationship with George, reportedly recording intimate conversations that could have destroyed the monarchy if they ever became public. According to these disputed claims, the diary supposedly documented George's political opinions and his rumored plans for living openly. Then there was Anthony Blunt, the brilliant art historian who would later become one of Britain's most notorious spies. But in the 1920s, according to some accounts, he was simply a young intellectual who allegedly captured George's heart with passionate discussions about art and philosophy. Some biographers suggest their relationship was conducted in the shadows of Cambridge University. According to the most controversial theories, the most dangerous affair of all was with a man whose name was allegedly completely erased from royal records. Supposedly, a high-ranking government official whose identity was so sensitive that even mentioning it could have triggered a constitutional crisis. Tell me in the comments, what part of these controversial theories shocks you the most so far? The alleged royal surveillance operation, George's rumored refusal to hide, or the supposed number of powerful men who were living double lives in 1920s Britain? Each alleged relationship reportedly followed the same dangerous pattern: passionate beginnings, secret meetings, exchanged letters, and growing risks. According to some accounts, George would fall completely, throwing caution to the wind and living for stolen moments with men who understood his struggle. According to controversial theories, the royal family's terror reached new heights when they allegedly discovered that George was planning to move in with one of his lovers, a permanent arrangement that would have made his homosexuality impossible to hide. Some researchers claim the plan was to establish a household in Paris, where George could allegedly live openly as himself. Palace officials supposedly intercepted the correspondence detailing this plan and realized they were facing their worst nightmare, according to these disputed accounts. Some suggest a royal prince living openly with a male lover would have created an international scandal. But according to the most alarming theories, the final straw allegedly came when palace spies discovered that one of George's ex-lovers was being approached by foreign intelligence services, agents who supposedly wanted to use intimate knowledge of the prince's secrets for their own purposes. In 1934, according to some historians, the royal family executed what they claim was the most desperate plan in their history. They would allegedly force Prince George into marriage, hoping that a wife and children could wash away the stain of his rumored homosexual scandals. The bride they chose, according to these controversial accounts, wasn't selected for love, but for her ability to play a role in what some researchers call the monarchy's greatest deception. Princess Marina of Greece was beautiful, sophisticated, and according to some claims, desperate enough to accept the arrangement. Her family had been exiled, their fortune destroyed, and marriage to a British prince represented her only chance at security. According to disputed theories, what she didn't know was that she was allegedly being recruited as an actress in a performance that would define her life. Some researchers suggest the wedding negotiations were conducted like a business merger rather than romance. According to controversial accounts, palace officials met with Marina's handlers to discuss not just dowries, but how to manage George's alleged situation after marriage. They supposedly established separate living quarters and protocols to maintain the illusion of marital bliss. George initially refused the arrangement with fury that allegedly terrified his family, according to some accounts. Some claim he locked himself in his rooms for days, emerging only to deliver passionate speeches about his right to live authentically. According to disputed theories, he threatened to renounce his titles or publish his autobiography exposing alleged royal hypocrisy. But according to controversial accounts, the royal establishment had learned to fight dirty. Some researchers claim they presented George with evidence of their surveillance operation, photographs and documented proof of his alleged relationships that could destroy not just him, but every man he had supposedly loved. According to these disputed theories, they had enough evidence to send dozens of influential men to prison. The emotional manipulation was allegedly masterful and cruel. According to some accounts, some claim they showed George letters from his former lovers, men who had been quietly threatened with exposure unless George agreed to marry. According to these controversial theories, these men had written pleading with George to comply with his family's demands. Marina was allegedly told a carefully crafted version of the truth, according to some researchers. Palace officials supposedly explained that George had been wild in his youth, but was now ready to fulfill his royal duties. According to disputed accounts, they painted his past relationships as mere rebellion, not genuine expressions of his sexual identity. The wedding itself was allegedly a masterpiece of theatrical deception, according to some historians. George supposedly played his part perfectly, smiling for photographs and delivering romantic speeches that fooled the world, but destroyed his soul. According to controversial theories, he stood at the altar knowing he was burying his authentic self forever. Behind the scenes, according to some accounts, the royal family celebrated their victory. They had allegedly successfully contained their most dangerous liability, transforming a homosexual scandal into a fairy tale romance. The public had no idea they were witnessing what some claim was the greatest cover-up in royal history. But according to disputed theories, the marriage was doomed from its first night. Some claim George tried desperately to play the devoted husband, but his heart belonged to men. According to some accounts, Marina began to suspect within weeks that something was deeply wrong. According to some claims, George's surrender to marriage didn't end his dangerous liaisons. It allegedly only made them more desperate and reckless than ever before. According to some accounts, marriage didn't cure Prince George. It allegedly tortured him. Some historians suggest every public appearance with Marina was psychological warfare against his own soul. He would reportedly hold her hand for photographers, while his heart ached for the men he could no longer openly love. According to disputed theories, he attended state functions, playing the devoted husband while dying inside from the suffocating weight of his deception. The children came: Edward in 1935, Alexandra in 1936, Michael in 1942, but according to some claims, even fatherhood couldn't heal the fundamental wound in George's psyche. Some suggest he loved his children desperately, but their very existence reminded him daily of the life he was allegedly living as a lie. According to controversial accounts, every family portrait was another nail in the coffin of his authentic self. Behind closed doors, according to palace insiders, George began self-medicating with alcohol and drugs. Some claim the palace physicians were quietly treating him for nervous exhaustion. But according to disputed theories, George was experiencing severe clinical depression, brought on by years of psychological abuse and forced suppression of his identity. Marina reportedly watched her husband's deterioration with growing alarm. According to some accounts, she had entered the marriage believing she could save him, but instead found herself married to a ghost of a man. Some historians suggest George was physically present but emotionally absent, going through the motions without genuine connection. The royal family's solution was allegedly to keep George busier, according to some claims, hoping that constant public duties would distract him from his inner turmoil. They supposedly scheduled endless engagements and ceremonial appearances. According to disputed accounts, George performed flawlessly in public, his royal training allowing him to smile even as he crumbled internally. But according to controversial theories, George began taking extraordinary risks to maintain connections with the underground world he had been forced to abandon. Some researchers claim he would slip away from royal security to meet former lovers in dangerous locations, knowing that discovery would mean personal ruin and the destruction of everyone he cared about. The palace intelligence apparatus allegedly went into overdrive, trying to monitor George's secret activities, according to some accounts. Some claim they hired private investigators to follow him, planted spies among his acquaintances, and intercepted his correspondence. According to disputed theories, the level of surveillance was unprecedented for a royal family member. George's addiction to risk allegedly became pathological, according to some historians. Some claim he would attend underground parties in working-class neighborhoods, where his aristocratic accent made him conspicuous. According to controversial accounts, he began using aliases and disguises, playing elaborate games with his own security detail. The psychological toll was reportedly devastating, according to palace staff accounts. Some claim staff found George talking to himself, writing obsessively in journals that were immediately confiscated, and exhibiting behaviors suggesting he was losing his grip on reality. By 1940, according to some historians, George had become a walking contradiction, a devoted father who couldn't connect with his children, a beloved public figure who felt utterly alone, a man surrounded by luxury who was spiritually bankrupt. The breaking point allegedly came when Marina discovered evidence of George's continued relationships with men. According to disputed theories, the confrontation that followed would change everything. When World War II erupted, according to some historians, the royal family saw an opportunity to solve their alleged Prince George problem permanently. Some claim they assigned him to the Royal Air Force, hoping that military discipline and dangerous missions would either cure his rebellious nature or eliminate him entirely. What they allegedly didn't anticipate, according to these disputed theories, was that war would give George access to secrets that made him more dangerous than ever before. George's role in RAF intelligence wasn't ceremonial, according to historical records. He had genuine access to classified military operations, strategic planning documents, and sensitive information about Britain's war effort. His royal status opened doors that were closed to ordinary officers, and his natural intelligence made him invaluable to the war machine. But according to some researchers, it also made him a walking security risk of unprecedented proportions. The prince's psychological state during wartime was allegedly increasingly unstable, according to some accounts. The combination of his suppressed sexuality, forced marriage, and now the trauma of war created what some claim was a perfect storm of mental breakdown. According to controversial theories, he began taking even greater risks, attending underground gatherings where military secrets were discussed openly among men who shared his sexual orientation. His wartime missions took him across Europe, and according to some disputed accounts, in each city he visited, George sought out the underground networks of men who understood his struggle. Some researchers claim that in Lisbon, he had affairs with refugees fleeing Nazi persecution. In Gibraltar, according to these theories, he connected with British agents who were also living double lives. These relationships allegedly weren't just personal. Some claim they were creating intelligence vulnerabilities. According to the most controversial theories, the most dangerous liaison of all began in 1941, when George allegedly met a mysterious figure whose identity remains classified even today. This man reportedly claimed to be a resistance fighter, but according to some intelligence accounts, palace officials suspected he was actually a German agent using George's vulnerabilities to extract military secrets. George's access to military communications meant he allegedly knew about D-Day planning, V-2 rocket intelligence, and crucial Allied operations, according to some claims. When his handlers supposedly discovered that he was sharing sensitive information with unauthorized individuals, according to these disputed theories, they realized that their homosexual prince had become a threat to the entire Allied war effort. According to some controversial accounts, palace officials presented evidence to Churchill himself, showing how George's personal relationships were allegedly compromising military operations. Some claim the Prime Minister's reaction was swift and terrifying. He supposedly declared that Prince George had become an enemy of the state and authorized extreme measures to contain the threat, though these allegations remain unverified and disputed. The royal family's solution was allegedly to give George a mission that would take him far from London and his dangerous liaisons, according to some researchers. Some claim they assigned him to a routine flight to inspect RAF facilities in Iceland, a mission that would keep him isolated and supervised for weeks. According to these disputed accounts, George suspected nothing, believing that his family was finally giving him meaningful war work. But according to the most controversial theories, the mission was a trap. Some researchers claim palace intelligence had discovered that George was planning to defect, to flee to neutral Switzerland with his latest lover and live openly as a homosexual exile. According to these disputed allegations, they had intercepted correspondence detailing his escape plans and his threats to expose British military secrets. As George prepared for his final mission to Iceland, according to some accounts, he had no idea that his own family had allegedly signed his death warrant. According to these controversial theories, the plane that would carry him to his doom was already being prepared, the crash site already selected, the cover story already written. But according to some claims, on his last night in London, George would make one final discovery that would allegedly seal his fate forever. On August 24, 1942, according to some controversial accounts, Prince George spent his final evening in London making love to a man whose name would allegedly be erased from history within hours of the prince's death. What George supposedly didn't know, according to these disputed theories, was that palace intelligence officers were stationed outside the hotel, photographing everyone who entered and left. The prince's behavior in those last days was reportedly erratic, desperate, almost as if he sensed his approaching doom, according to some accounts. Some claim he had been making frantic phone calls to former lovers, trying to arrange secret meetings, and writing letters that his staff intercepted and destroyed. According to disputed theories, palace officials later described his mental state as completely unhinged. 3 days before his scheduled departure to Iceland, according to some controversial accounts, George allegedly discovered something that changed everything. Some researchers claim that while going through his father's personal papers, he found documents that supposedly proved the royal family had been systematically destroying his lovers' lives for years. According to these disputed theories, men he had cared about had been arrested on fabricated charges or simply disappeared. The discovery allegedly broke something fundamental in George's psyche, according to some accounts. Some claim palace staff reported that he became violent, throwing furniture and screaming accusations at his family members. According to controversial theories, he threatened to go to the newspapers to expose everything he knew about royal corruption and military secrets. That night, according to some disputed accounts, George wrote 3 letters that would allegedly have destroyed the monarchy if they had ever been made public. Some researchers claim the first was to Winston Churchill, detailing military secrets he planned to reveal. The second was supposedly to his lover in Switzerland, confirming their alleged plan to meet in Geneva. The third was reportedly to Marina, confessing everything. According to some controversial theories, palace intelligence intercepted all 3 letters before they could be sent. Some claim the royal family convened an emergency meeting that lasted until dawn, with senior officials debating what to do about the prince who had allegedly become a threat to the crown itself. According to these disputed accounts, witnesses later testified that the king was seen weeping. George's final morning was allegedly spent in a strange state of manic euphoria, according to some accounts. Some claim he seemed almost relieved that the charade was finally ending, telling his Batman that he was looking forward to fresh air and honest work. According to controversial theories, he packed personal items that seemed oddly sentimental, photographs of male friends and letters from his forbidden relationships. The aircraft prepared for George's mission had allegedly been serviced by technicians who were not part of the regular RAF maintenance crew, according to some disputed claims. Some researchers suggest these men worked through the night, making modifications to the plane that would ensure it would never reach Iceland. As George prepared to board the Sunderland flying boat, according to some accounts, he made one final phone call to a number that palace intelligence had been monitoring for months. Some claim the conversation lasted only minutes, but George seemed to be saying goodbye to someone he loved deeply. According to some controversial accounts, George walked to his plane carrying a briefcase containing documents that would have changed history. Some researchers claim intelligence officers knew about the briefcase but allowed him to board with it, knowing that within hours, both the prince and his explosive secrets would allegedly be buried in the Scottish Highlands. As the aircraft taxied for takeoff, according to disputed theories, George stared out the window at the London skyline, knowing he was seeing his homeland for the last time. What he allegedly didn't know was that his death had already been choreographed. At 1:10 p.m. on August 25, 1942, the Sunderland flying boat carrying Prince George crashed into Eagles Rock near Dunbeath, Scotland. The official report claimed pilot error in bad weather, but according to conspiracy theorists and some researchers, the evidence suggests a very different story. Some claim this was no accident, but allegedly the execution of a royal prince whose secrets had become too dangerous. The first red flag, according to some investigators, was the flight path itself. Some claim the aircraft had no legitimately flying a remote Scottish highland. The official mission was to Iceland, which required a completely different route. Yet according to disputed accounts, the plane was found hundreds of miles in an area where allegedly the weather that day was reportedly clear, contradicting the official report of dangerous flying conditions, according to some local residents. Some witnesses claim to have seen the aircraft flying normally before suddenly diving toward the ground in what they described as an unnatural descent. According to these disputed accounts, the plane allegedly fell straight down like a stone. The crash investigation was allegedly suspiciously rushed, according to some researchers. They claim that normally, aircraft accidents involving royalty would trigger extensive forensic examination. Instead, according to these controversial theories, the wreckage was cleared within 48 hours, before independent investigators could examine the scene. According to some disputed claims, Prince George's body was found in a position that defied the physics of the crash. While other passengers were allegedly discovered in the wreckage, some researchers claim George was found outside the aircraft, his body intact and his briefcase missing. According to controversial theories, forensic experts later testified that his injuries were inconsistent with an aircraft accident. The briefcase George had allegedly been carrying was never recovered, despite intensive searches, according to some accounts. Some conspiracy theorists claim this briefcase contained evidence about his family's persecution of his lovers, copies of letters, and potentially compromising photographs that could have destroyed the monarchy. According to some disputed theories, the official passenger list was altered after the crash. Some researchers claim that originally there was supposed to be 16 people on board, but only 14 bodies were recovered. According to these controversial accounts, 2 passengers mysteriously didn't board at the last minute. The investigation was allegedly conducted entirely by military personnel loyal to the Crown, according to some claims. Some researchers suggest the lead investigator was the same intelligence officer who had been monitoring George's activities, creating what they claim was an obvious conflict of interest. According to some disputed accounts, local Scottish police officers later reported seeing government agents removing evidence before the official investigation began. Some claim these agents worked methodically through the wreckage, clearly looking for specific items rather than conducting a general investigation. The most explosive allegation came decades later, according to some accounts, when an aircraft mechanic allegedly broke his silence on his deathbed. Some claim he confessed that he had been ordered to make specific modifications to the plane's control systems that would cause catastrophic failure. According to these disputed claims, he had been told it was for national security. The royal family's reaction to George's death was allegedly suspiciously muted, according to some observers. While they performed public mourning rituals, some claim that private correspondence revealed they seemed more relieved than grief-stricken. According to controversial theories, within days, they had destroyed George's personal effects and begun erasing his authentic self from royal history. But according to some researchers, they couldn't erase everything. Hidden in locations they allegedly never discovered, some claim evidence survived, waiting for someone brave enough to expose what they believe is the truth. 82 years later, according to some researchers, the royal family is still desperately trying to keep Prince George's alleged secrets buried, but some claim the truth has a way of surfacing, and in recent decades, disputed evidence has emerged that conspiracy theorists say confirms everything we've explored tonight. According to controversial accounts, hidden documents, deathbed confessions, and newly discovered correspondence have painted what some believe is a picture of institutional murder. In 1998, according to some reports, construction workers renovating a London townhouse discovered a hidden wall cavity containing hundreds of letters allegedly written to and from Prince George. Some claim these letters, which the royal family immediately tried to suppress through legal action, revealed the full extent of his relationships with influential men across Europe. According to disputed theories, they contain detailed accounts of surveillance operations and explicit threats from palace officials. The letters also allegedly revealed that George wasn't the only royal victim of this systematic persecution, according to some researchers. Some conspiracy theorists claim other family members who had shown signs of non-conforming sexuality had been subjected to similar treatment. Forced marriages, constant surveillance, and in some cases, mysterious deaths that were never properly investigated. Former intelligence officers, according to some accounts, have begun speaking out about operations they were allegedly ordered to conduct against Prince George. Some claim their testimonies, given under oath to independent investigators, describe a coordinated effort to isolate, monitor, and ultimately eliminate a prince whose very existence threatened the monarchy's carefully constructed image. According to controversial claims, the most explosive revelation came in 2019, when Marina's private diary was allegedly discovered in the estate of a deceased lady-in-waiting. Some researchers suggest the diary, which Marina had supposedly kept hidden for over 40 years after George's death, contained her growing suspicions about the circumstances of her husband's death. According to these disputed theories, she had conducted her own investigation and gathered evidence that convinced her George had been murdered. Marina's diary allegedly revealed that she had been approached by government officials shortly after George's death and warned never to speak publicly about her suspicions, according to some accounts. Some claim she was told that asking questions about the crash would result in the loss of her royal status and separation from her children. But perhaps the most controversial allegation involves a recorded conversation from 1943. which some researchers claim was recently found in government archives that were supposed to have been destroyed. According to these disputed theories, in this recording, King George VI can allegedly be heard discussing his brother's death with Winston Churchill, referring to it as necessary for the survival of the crown. These claims remain unverified and heavily disputed by official sources. Some conspiracy theorists suggest that modern forensic analysis of the crash site, conducted by independent investigators in 2015, confirmed what many had suspected for decades. According to these controversial claims, the wreckage pattern was inconsistent with an accidental crash, and soil samples allegedly revealed traces of explosives that would not have been present in a normal aircraft accident. The royal family's response to these allegations has reportedly been predictably aggressive, according to some researchers. Some claim they have used legal threats, media manipulation, and financial pressure to silence investigators and suppress evidence. According to disputed accounts, anyone who gets too close to what conspiracy theorists believe is the truth finds themselves facing lawsuits and mysterious personal problems. But according to some researchers, the truth can no longer be contained. Some suggest Prince George's story represents something larger than one man's tragedy. What they claim is the story of an institution that will commit murder to protect its image, a family that will allegedly sacrifice its own members to preserve its power. Today, as society has evolved to accept and celebrate LGBTQ+ individuals, according to some observers, Prince George's alleged murder seems even more horrific. Some claim he died for being authentic in a world that demanded conformity, killed for loving honestly in a system built on lies. If this exploration of controversial theories has moved you, if learning these disputed claims about Prince George has opened your eyes to what some believe are the dark realities of institutional power, then honor his memory by sharing this video. Subscribe to this channel because according to conspiracy researchers, there are more royal secrets waiting to be exposed, more victims whose stories deserve to be told. According to those who believe in these theories, Prince George died believing that love was worth any price, even death itself. His alleged courage in living authentically, even when it supposedly cost him everything, should inspire us all to reject the lies that powerful institutions tell us about who we're supposed to be. Some claim the crown killed Prince George, but they couldn't kill his truth. And according to these researchers, that truth will outlive them all.